I think it's really important to remember that not every voice in Israel applauds Donald Trump for what he's done. Two Israeli MPs disrupted his speech in the Knesset, holding up signs that read, "Recognise Palestine." Have a listen.
I've known him for many years, and I've seen it over and over again.
להוציא את חבר הכנסת עודה, להוציא אותו מהאולם, להוציא אותו מיד, החוצה, החוצה.
Please expel this Knesset member. Please expel this Knesset member.
להוציא גם את חבר הכנסת כסיף. להוציא את חבר הכנסת כסיף מהאולם.
Expel Knesset member Cassif out of the hall. Please expel him immediately.
Now, one of the protesters, Ofer Cassif, who's part of a coalition of left-wing parties in the Knesset, joins me now. Ofer, thank you very much for talking to LBC tonight. Now, your protest was simple in terms of language, recognise Palestine. Just tell people listening why you thought it was important to disrupt President Trump's speech to make that point.
I don't think, first of all, that we disrupted because we didn't shout, we didn't curse, we didn't even speak. We just, held those signs. Obviously, we put some of the blame, a great deal of the blame for the genocide and the sacrifice of the Israeli hostages on Trump himself and his administration. Because let's not forget that he supported the government of Israel in last March, when the government of Israel itself was the one that violated the previous agreement with Hamas. He allowed the continuation of the genocide in Gaza, as well as the sacrifice of the Israeli soldiers and hostages. So there's something really twisted in referring now to Trump as a saviour when he was really a complicit. A total complicit in those atrocities, including the sacrifice of the hostages. And we have to say something about it. And, there was today a show in the Knesset that was so grotesque, a total, cult of personality. This is unbelievable. This is unacceptable of Trump and of Netanyahu. For what? For the crimes they committed?
Yeah. And they were certainly praising each other lavishly, and Trump said, Netanyahu should be forgiven his crimes and so on. But looking further forward, is your concern that this entire peace deal, this entire situation is going to be overturned because Israel will not accept a two-state solution, will not recognise Palestine, and that therefore things will fall apart? Is that your fundamental concern?
Absolutely, but I do not trust that even Trump actually is interested in that. We just have to look at what he's been saying and doing since he got to office. So it's very strange for me, to see so many people, including leaders, who are not naive, who still believe this megalomaniac in what he says. We must be very cautious. And I would like to say another thing. Trump, we should not thank him. There's no gratitude to Trump, exactly the opposite. If we have to say thank you to someone, and we do, it's to the masses of people across the world, to the millions of people in different countries, in England, in the United States itself, in Spain, in Italy, in Holland, and in many other places. They took to the streets to protest against the carnage that was going on in Gaza, calling for justice and peace. We have to thank them. The other day, just a couple of days ago, Trump said to Netanyahu, and I quote, "Israel cannot be against the whole world." That shows that if something
those protests had an effect.
Trump's attitude is the protest across the world. Continue with that.
That's really, really interesting. And we also heard Donald Trump praise Netanyahu as a great war leader. Now, you've used the word genocide. So how did you feel about those words?
There was no war there. First of all, I have to say two things, with your permission. We were against the carnage that Hamas committed on October 7th from the very beginning. This was absolutely a terrible and criminal carnage and massacre that no one could and should tolerate or accept. We were Palestinians and Jews together in my party. We were absolutely with no reservations against it. But at the same time, we were against the continuation of the continuous genocide in Gaza. And those two perceptions of ours is exactly based on our humanistic way of thinking and ideology. And we should cling to that, and we will cling to that. That's our gist, as, say, Democrats, socialists, etc.
You say humanistic. Is religion the real problem here?
Absolutely not. The real problem here has always been a problem of discrimination, a problem of exclusion, marginalization, and basically occupation and dispossession. Colonization, if you like, that's the main issue. If we take colonization from the equation by not only recognizing, but by establishing a full sovereign and independent Palestinian state alongside the state of Israel, not instead, in the territories, all the territories that Israel occupied in June 1967, that is to say West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Gaza Strip, that's the only formula to solve and stop the bloodshed. No other way. In that sense, our opinion, our beliefs and our stance is not against Israel. They always try to present us as if we are anti-Israel. We are not anti-Israel. For the benefit of both peoples, Palestinians and Israelis, there's a need to reach peace. And that requires justice, and justice requires ending the occupation. As simple as that. So we are joyful about the end of the genocide and the release of the hostages, absolutely. But we cannot stop there.